and welcome back to Christian English Hub. I'm Sue, and today we have a very special story for your English practice. We are going to learn about a man named Charles Spurgeon. People call him the Prince of Preachers. This is a summarized version of his life. As usual, we will hear the story slowly. Then I will explain the most important vocabulary. Finally, you can practice your shadowing. Let's get started. Charles Spurgeon was born in 1834 in a small town in England. He came from a family of ministers. His father and grandfather were both devout men who taught him about God from a young age. Charles was a very clever boy. He loved reading big, difficult books by the Puritans. However, as he grew older, Charles faced a major conflict. Even though he knew a lot about the Bible, he did not feel peace in his heart. He felt heavy and sad, like he was carrying a great burden of sin. He visited many different churches looking for an answer, but he couldn't find the light. One cold Sunday morning in 1850, when he was only 15, everything changed. There was a terrible snowstorm. The snow was so deep that Charles could not reach the church he planned to visit. Instead, he stopped at a tiny chapel on a side street. Inside, there were only a few people. The regular minister was stuck in the snow, so a simple man, a shoemaker, stood up to speak. The man didn't have a great education, but he looked at Charles and shouted, "Young man, look to Jesus Christ. Look, look, look." That was the turning point. At that moment, Charles understood the simple truth of faith. The heavy burden on his heart disappeared. He felt a sudden joy and peace. Charles decided to dedicate his life to sharing this message. He began preaching when he was still a teenager. People were amazed by his powerful voice and clear words. Eventually, he moved to London and preached to thousands of people every week in a huge building called the Metropolitan Tabernacle. He also wrote many books and helped thousands of orphans. Even though he often became ill, he never stopped working. His legacy lives on today through his famous sermons. Charles Spurgeon proved that even a simple message in a snowstorm can change the world. Now, let's look at some key words and phrases from Charles's story. Listen and repeat. Devout. Very religious and sincere in your beliefs. My grandmother is a devout woman who prays every morning. My grandmother is a devout woman who prays every morning. Conflict. A struggle or a serious disagreement, often inside one's mind. He had a conflict between following his dream and staying home. He had a conflict between following his dream and staying home. Burden. Something difficult or unpleasant that you have to deal with. Stress at work can feel like a heavy burden on your shoulders. Stress at work can feel like a heavy burden on your shoulders. Turning point. A time when a very important change happens. Passing the exam was a major turning point in my career. Passing the exam was a major turning point in my career. Dedicate. To give a lot of your time and effort to a particular goal. She decided to dedicate her weekends to helping the poor. She decided to dedicate her weekends to helping the poor. Preach. To give a religious talk to a group of people. The leader began to preach about the importance of kindness. The leader began to preach about the importance of kindness. Legacy. Something that is a result of events in the past or a person's life work. The doctor left a legacy of better health care for the village. The doctor left a legacy of better health care for the village. Stuck. Unable to move or get out of a position or situation. My car got stuck in the mud after the heavy rain. My car got stuck in the mud after the heavy rain. Great job! You've just learned about one of the most famous speakers in history and practiced some useful English words. Remember, the best way to improve is to listen again and try the shadowing technique. Thank you for listening to Christian English Hub. See you next time.